It's Chelsea.
It's Nina.
And you're in the Critic's Kingdom.
Today we're going to be reviewing Twas the Night. It came out in 2001. I had very, very fond memories of this one as a child, I will say.
I didn't really remember it, if we're going to be honest. But, we decided to rewatch it.
And that might no longer be the case for me.
Nina may have lost a little bit of the magic.
A little bit of the magic is now gone. That is certainly the case. But I think we should just get into it, and maybe you guys will understand why I feel that way now.
All right, we'll be right back. So we start off with a young teenager, Danny Wrigley, who is telling the story of Twas the Night, but his family's version, essentially, and we learn he has a little brother named Peter and a sister named Caitlin, who's like a brainiac, and, his two parents. He also has a good-for-nothing uncle named Nick, who is played by Bryan Cranston. He idolizes his Uncle Nick, we soon find out, but we also find out that his Uncle Nick is actively a scammer. Think 2-bit Bernie Madoff type, but not in stocks, does internet scams, because this is 2001.
Yeah, I like to think it's a quick cross for Bryan Cranston between, what will become Walter White and what was once Hal. Don't know the last name of the Malcolm family, but yes.
Yeah, there you go. He's right in the middle in this one. We see Uncle Nick being shaken down by these two guys who he took advantage of during his internet scam. And they're basically like, dude, if you don't get us this money back, we're going to have our enforcer beat you up. Manages to escape them. He then returns to the suburbs to visit his brother and his family, a.k.a. Danny's family, because he's trying to actively run away. And so once he gets there, Danny and Peter and Caitlin are all super excited because they haven't seen their Uncle Nick in a while. Meanwhile, his brother is just like, my good-for-nothing brother is here, and he is scamming not only the hearts and minds of others, but my children.
Mm-hmm.
So he has issues with that, but him and his wife are both, either they're both doctors or they both work at the hospital in some capacity, but he's a doctor for sure. They never say, I don't think they say what the wife does.
I don't recall.
But they end up having to get called away. So they go to the hospital, but they're like, obviously we can't leave these 3 children at home alone because God only knows what's going to happen.
Because Danny is clearly deeply irresponsible.
Yeah, no, Danny is also a true teenager, but a teenager that takes advantage of his siblings, especially his younger brother Peter, who looks up to him like he's a god. So they're like, we can't leave Danny alone with these children. That's not going to work. But they're like, well, we have Uncle Nick. So they begrudgingly leave Uncle Nick with the 3 kids. All is going okay, mostly because as soon as they're about to leave, their dad sends them all up to bed, even though it's approximately, I guess, 7:30 p.m.
On Christmas Eve.
On Christmas Eve.
That's not going to work, but okay.
And while Uncle Nick is there, trying to figure out how he's going to get out of this situation with these people that are after him, Santa comes through. Actually Santa. And he is, trying to, put the gifts under the tree as is always planned, but Uncle Nick, since he's a internet scammer, has created a virus, and the virus is throwing off Santa's, robotic control,
I guess
tech
GPS situation?
Yeah, let's call it a smart sleigh. He's got a smart sleigh. And it's, messing with the frequencies. So Santa has to come down and, turn off the virus, off the computer. And all is going well until Uncle Nick wakes up and he's just like, who are you and why are you in my, family's home? From that point on, you can kind of guess what happens. Uncle Nick basically beats him up, and then...
I think he hits his head. I don't think he's assaulted.
Yeah, he doesn't,
straight out.
He doesn't assault Santa, but Santa ends up unconscious on the floor.
He's still the reason Santa is unconscious.
Yeah, Santa ends up unconscious on the floor. Danny is over here. He comes down because he hears the commotion. And he comes downstairs and he's like, yo, dude, Uncle Nick, what, Santa?
Santa?
They
Did you
also-
kill Santa, Uncle Nick?
They also realize that Santa has this thing where he can, like, make presents bigger and smaller if he presses a button on this, like,
Yeah, Santa has this. He has like this magic ball little gadget, and it
Yeah.
has 3, I guess, dials on it or
Yeah.
buttons on it, and one of them like freezes time.
Mm-hmm.
The other makes things bigger or smaller,
Right.
and they learn this through experimentation.
Right.
obviously,
They
with
start
the
playing
do
around
that.
with it because what
And
else
then
would
the
you do?
Right, and then the third one allows him to like disintegrate into colored snow and
Yeah.
travel places.
Almost like an atom.
Teleportation, slightly.
Yeah, almost like an atom.
Yeah.
Like he just So they're like
Snowflake
they realize all of this, and then Uncle Nick gets a brilliant idea, and he was like, "Oh, how about we go around and we save Christmas, Danny, me and you?" But really, what he's trying to do is get his money back and steal from people.
Scam.
So they decide that they're gonna set out to do that. They go and like start. They're like, let's start on the Gold Coast because Uncle Nick is like, that's where we're gonna, really be able to save Christmas specifically there. And they go around. He starts like shrinking things. Like when he goes into people's homes to allegedly give them gifts and taking them and putting them in his pocket since they're now like really small so that he can, eventually sell it all when he puts it back at normal size. Meanwhile, Santa's back at their house and he wakes up, but also Danny's little brother and little sister also have woken up.
Because it was
So they
7
tie
o'clock.
up Santa, and then they end up having to like talk to Santa and get out that he actually is Santa. They figure that out, but then they have to figure out like where did Uncle Nick and Danny go. Caitlin, the sister, figures out very quickly. She's like, well, Uncle Nick's a scammer and Danny's basically following in his path, so they're probably out stealing from people. Like, she's like, they took your sleigh and they're probably out stealing.
I appreciate that they make her very quick.
Yeah.
And just to the point.
She's clearly the smartest one in this family.
by miles. Well,
and-
no, their dad's a doctor, and their mom is also in some capacity in medicine.
Yes.
I take that back.
Yes.
She's the one with the most promise of the children.
Of the
it seems.
siblings, yes. So then they have to, like, Santa, Caitlin, and little brother Peter have to go to a computer store because they're like, well, maybe we can, like, mess up the frequencies again, like you did when you trashed, like, the virus that was on Uncle Nick's computer. They have to go to the computer store. They have a run-in with gangsters, which we'll get into later on the way to the computer store.
Santa tickles them.
But they get there, and they manage to, like, disable the sleigh for a bit. But then Danny and Uncle Nick are like, well, how about we stop the sleigh and then start it back up again? So they end up, like, being perfectly fine. After it all, they can't control them. So they end up having to, like, come back home. But meanwhile, Uncle Nick and Danny figures out the jig after a while and is like, Uncle Nick, you're literally worthless. Like, I don't know. You're
a horrible person.
You're, like, actively a fraud. Because unlike Uncle Nick, Danny was slowly changing through this process of delivering people's gifts. Like, he was like, wow, the naughty list doesn't really make much sense because people haven't done that much stuff or they seem like they're trying to change. So he actually, like, starts trying to, like, give kids things that, like, would make sense that could change them. But he figures out what Uncle Nick is actually doing, and he's like, yeah, so that's not going to work for me. So he has to go back home. Uncle Nick is like, well, I'm going to take the next bus out, so...
so deuces.
So bye. So they head out, and Uncle Nick is at a bus stop, and all the kids are back now at home because Danny gets back home, sees his sister, brother with Santa, and is like, yeah, I was trying to do this, but Uncle Nick was on some other tip. And the henchmen from the criminals or they're not even criminals, the people that got scammed from the beginning, then pull up in Danny and his family's yard, and they're like, we're looking for your Uncle Nick. And he's like, I don't know where he is, because he's also worthless to me. And they're like, well, we kind of don't care about that. So they're about to, like, hurt them in some way, even though Santa's trying to protect them. But then Uncle Nick suddenly is like, you know what, I probably shouldn't let my under 15-year-old nieces and nephews get hurt by people that actually are coming after
when
me.
they were literally left in your care. That's also
literally
one of the best parts. Like you left them with Santa, How you gonna explain that to your brother? Like,
Right.
how you gonna...
When he's on that midnight train to Georgia. How? So they end up, he ends up, like, showing, basically, like, turning the guy from the, like, guys that were after him, turning one of them into, like, a little miniature version using the little gadget that Santa has. That scares them off. They end up leaving, and all seems to be well. Nick and Danny make up, and everybody's kind of like, we love each other, all that stuff. And then Santa is basically like, okay, like, guys, I need to actually go and save Christmas. So he leaves. The next scene, the final scene we have is, like, all of the family waking up on Christmas morning, and they're all getting gifts, and it's all cute, and then we see that Uncle Nick has also received a gift. We don't know who it's from, but it's from Santa, but Mom and Dad are very confused, because they're like, I didn't buy it. Did you buy it? And it's like a Jimi Hendrix guitar, which is not cheap, so somebody had to buy it.
And it's the thing that he's always wanted.
Right, and he said if he had gotten it when he was younger, then he wouldn't be how he is, which is such a lie. What a man. What a typical man. But anyways, that's what he blames all his issues on. So, then he plays the guitar for them, and they're like, yeah, Uncle Nick, you shred. And that's, like, and then Danny reads us out the, like, final half of the, like, Wrigley family Twas the Night version.
Which is less disgruntled than the first one.
Yes.
The
He's like,
first
we all
half
live
is
happily ever, the usual stuff that you'd expect. So that's basically the recap of this one. To get into the review, I would just like to begin with the fact that Peter, the youngest child, has an interesting voice, I will say.
Deeply unique.
Deeply unique. It's like a rare bird to a degree. Like a Russian-is, like a Russian-British,
I call it
Canadian rare bird child's voice.
Yeah, it's like, I like to call it it's a nice mix between, like, if one of the chipmunks, maybe Simon, were, like, in Oliver Twist, that would be what he sounds like.
Yeah,
but it's not just high British. Like, I think you're right. There's a squawky, not squawking, but like a squeaking nature to it.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like,
it's very strange.
It's Daddy. You can shake me, Daddy.
It's very odd.
You can shaking me down.
Anyway, it's not pleasant.
We thought that somebody had messed up the ADR, which if you don't know what that is, that's like when actors aren't, like, how people will do things on, like, when you're on set. It's basically when actors, like, they don't fully catch the vocals on set, or they want to hear it louder in a different way, so they record it separately after everybody's offset, like, in a studio. So we thought somebody maybe had messed up the ADR.
But that seems
But that's how it was the entire film, so I don't...
which, he's grown now, so...
Yeah.
I hope it's gotten better.
Danny.
I don't know, it's weird, because I feel like the casting, like, they thought they were getting cute.
Yeah.
But it's not, like, it's not as bad as a Chucky doll, but we're living somewhere in the middle of that.
It's also because he looks
cuteness
older.
gone wrong.
It's not like he looks like he's like 6 or 7. Yeah. He
looks
very
like
much
he's
looks like a 9
10,
or 10.
Maybe 11.
Yeah, like he very much gives me like I'm almost in middle school vibes.
Yeah.
So that's why it was also just really odd, because it was like I would get it if he was like 6 or 7. But it just didn't make any sense. You know who it sounded similar to? If you guys have... This is very specific. But if
please take us on this ride, Chelsea.
If you guys have ever seen the Studio Ghibli masterpiece that is Grave of the Fireflies, whoever plays the little girl in that, like, in the English dub of that, I hate the voice. Like, that's who it reminds me of. Like, I don't know
That's quite on the nose, I would say.
Yeah, it's like the same type of, like, specific. Annoying... little, like,
I think it's because it's
type of voice
animated. I didn't pay as much attention to it, but I see how you get so there.
Much. I actively hated it so much. I was like, who did it? Ruined the movie for me.
I will say with this, I mean, it ends up being a slight laughing point when you're watching it, but the problem is that they also give him all of these, like, innocent boy lines to say, and and after a while you're just like, please stop. Like, please just, like, stop letting him speak. It's it's not like I said, it's not horrifying.
No.
But it's definitely disturbing.
Yes.
Definitely disturbing. And on that note, with casting too, I also have a slight. When this movie began, right? Now that I'm older to watch, when this movie began, I was like, the boy that popped up on screen playing Danny. Mm-hmm. My immediate thought was, in what world does this boy celebrate Christmas? Because I am looking at a Jewish child from New Jersey. Like, that's what I saw. And, like, all the things, like, the actor is apparently, like, Jewish, which makes sense. But it's just, the accent, like, everything about his demeanor, his swag, even his hair, I was like, this is a baby Zach Braff. This is not, like, a child in, like, where are they supposed to be? Maybe they're supposed to be in Michigan or something?
I don't know where, I know it's somewhere cold because there's, like, snow on the ground. But they don't say where they are.
But I feel like there's, like, a weird tint to the accents of, like,
that's
Canada.
Canadian.
I know.
It's basically
that's why I'm trying
they're
to...
They're in Toronto.
I'm giving
that's
them
where
the benefit of the doubt. Like, maybe they said it in Michigan.
You guys know I say every Disney movie is just filmed in Toronto at this point.
I mean, most of them are. But,
right.
you know, like, maybe the town is supposed to be, like, on one of those borders in Michigan where things get Canadian-y.
Yeah.
Kind of weirdly. Yeah. Anyway, the point is, he's not from there. Like, there's no way that this person is from there unless he is adopted and was adopted when he was 9. Like, it just doesn't correlate. So, there were a few different, like, missteps that I was just perplexed about.
Yeah, I feel like one of our overall issues was, like, that I think they tried to do this thing where they tried to make it, like, a new millennium take on both Twas the Night and then specifically the Santa character and the Santa lore that we all have in our heads. Like, I think you brought up the fact that, like, he doesn't drop off coal in this one.
Yeah, and it's not, and, like, there's this whole thread about how, you know, like, he's not dropping off, like, gifts that help make the naughty kids better, but it's like, but he's not even leaving them all, like, with the same thing. He's just giving them things they don't want.
Yes.
Which is... It's like, why wouldn't you, like, even if you're gonna do that, like, why wouldn't you make one cheap generic thing that they all, like, make the lives of the elves easier, no?
Right.
Make one cheap generic gift that all the little naughty kids get, and, you know, like a snow globe or something, and then...
Just keep it simple.
You know, and then keep it pushing. Like, why are you giving them specific undesirable things? It's just strange.
But he's not the old Santa. He's the new Santa.
He is the Santa that will tickle a gangster and not think twice about it. In an alleyway.
And at this moment, I would like to take the moments to just record the immortal words of Nicki Minaj and quote her verse in New Body, because I feel like that is what this Santa is trying to go for. One moment. Ain't no miles on this here new body. Off with the heads, these bitches is nobodies. That was Santa.
I think y'all just got one of the greatest Christmas gifts. One of the greatest holiday presents that has ever been delivered, because, thank you for that, Chelsea.
I couldn't read the rest of the verse because, listen, that was the basic explicit version. But, you know, just go check out New Body, because I feel like that's how they were trying to, like, they had that in mind when they made this Santa. Like, they were like, no miles on this here New Body, okay? He's a new bitch. Well, not bitch, but...
Well, I mean, yeah. I think that you could call this the new bitch Santa. I would coin that.
Yeah.
We could make it a hashtag, maybe.
New bitch Santa.
New bitch Santa.
I will say his cape went off. Like, that was a fit.
You know?
We love the cape. It had, like, it was like a... I don't know what they call the bandana designs, but you know what that is?
The paisley?
Yes. It was like a paisley type design, but it was really well done.
Yeah. That's very true.
So, yeah, this was Nicky Santanage. That's what I'm going to call him. But, yeah, I mean, even in the fact that... And I think you brought this up, actually, before... that they had this weird thing during that time period of, like, having, like, the good guys run into gangsters. Which is, like,
it's like this
not
weird,
a thing.
This weird trope, like, in alleyways.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was...
a thing.
But it was always, like, with this, like, West Side Story feel. You know? It was never organic. It was always just, like... It's like, people don't... I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, I've hung around my fair share of unscrupulous folk. And I feel
Thank you for sharing that with us, Nina.
I feel like alleys are obvious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you might catch them in a dark corner, kinda.
Yeah.
You know, on some stoops, parking lots, maybe.
Yeah, but are they really
like,
in the alleys anymore?
But I'm also from New York. Like, we don't really have alleys like that. There's like a few in Chinatown.
I mean, you do have alleys here.
Well, I mean, but not like dead alleys that like just stop. That don't have like.
Maybe I feel like, you know what, that might
That's
just
like
be
a
like
very
a stereotype
old,
of
yeah,
New
that's
York.
like a very old,
It's very much a
20s
stereotype
thing,
of New York.
but like, well, at least now, like post 80s New York, I don't know nothing about that.
That was
like I'm not gonna pretend that I do. I was not alive.
But okay, this New York, this here is a new body.
Like it really is though.
80s New York.
Yeah, that's a whole other animal. But like, you know, like there weren't like we have very narrow streets in some places in like Manhattan. But like straight up, there aren't many. There are some places where it does become like a straight up dead end, but there aren't many places like that. Now you do have an alley that is like a long stretch, but again, like there's like at the end of that, there's people traversing it. Mm-hmm. And I guess now there are streetlights when there didn't used to be streetlights in places. I think that we've gone away from what we were doing. In the beginning
all that being said, if any of you are unscrupulous characters and you can let us know.
Let us know your current opinion on alleys in
Do y'all be hiding in the alleys?
Like, I never hid in the alley. That's what I'll say. I was never
in 2020. Is that a thing?
I was in parks and parking lots and basements.
And this is not saying that. I'm not talking like generally, because it's like always, of course, there's going to be one or two people that are in an alley. I'm talking about like as a like general, but I'm just saying like, you know, like, is this like a gathering place? It seems like it used to be.
Yeah, again, in like the 20s though. If you're still gathering in an alley, you're asking for trouble. And not like asking for trouble from like other troublemakers like you. Like you're asking to get stopped by a cop. And if you look like me, probably not make it out. So, of that scuffle, of that interaction. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? Like it's just not a... Yeah. I don't think that it's something that is as prevalent as it perhaps was.
Y'all let us know.
I don't know if those people are listening to this podcast about Disney Channel movies. I especially don't know if they're listening to the one about Twas the Night.
Well, I would like to think that we traverse all demographics.
One would hope. That's the dream, right? That is the true dream.
I'm just saying, like, you know, like, don't ever stop me in the street, but like on Twitter or something, if you can just like, you know, tweet us.
Just let us know.
At Critics Kingdom. Just be like, yeah, you know, I did see some guys hanging out in the alley the other day.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
We'll keep a running tab. We'll let you guys know, like...
I'll start a poll.
End of next year. About,
I start a poll on the numbers.
Yeah, the numbers
like 0 to 1 or more.
0 to 1 or more.
In the alley.
Why 0 to 1? How is it going to be between 0? It's just, like... What?
0 to 1.
Then it should be 0 and then 1 and then more.
No. Right, I need 0 to 1.
That's okay. So, but to get back to the review,
I think another interesting part though was that you know, when Danny is beginning to change, when we're starting to see that transfiguration. What?
That was good. Go ahead.
She gave me a very puzzled look right then.
It's just a Harry Potter specific term, but I'm okay with it.
There was also a great movie that was about a black vampire, alleged vampire, that was called Transfiguration, which I highly recommend, by the way.
I've never heard of that.
Oh, you might like
watch
it.
That now.
It's set in the projects,
The only
too.
black vampire movie I know is Blackula, and then there's one other one, but I forget the name of it.
Well, so the thing is, he's like, he doesn't know if he's a vampire, but he likes blood. Anyways, you guys should watch that. It's not actually scary, by the way. It's not a scary one. It's more of a psychological type of thing, but very, very good.
We've talked about everything but this movie.
I know.
Which is great. Which again, says a lot. It says so much.
But yes, as Danny is going through his transfiguration, and he's starting to, you know, be not worthless like his uncle, he, you know, starts to realize that, like, the naughty list and the kids that are on the naughty list, he's like, well, there's more to these kids than just being naughty. Like, one of the people that they go to drop off toys to, it's like this kid that I guess he went to school with or something, or either that or like the the screen must have said, like, oh, he gets into a lot of fights or something
Yeah.
like that. But he was like, yeah, but this kid gets into a lot of fights because he gets frustrated. And he's like, he doesn't have a way to, like, channel his anger.
Yeah.
So then he's like, I'm not going to give him, I forgot what Santa was,
It was like a
down.
doll
It
or
was something
something
weird.
stupid.
And then he's like, I'm going to give him a punching bag because he's like, clearly he needs something to, like, channel his anger into. And right now he doesn't have that. So it was just interesting because that happens, like, I think at least one or two other times where he's just like, I want to redirect what
There's
naughty
one that I
means.
can't quite remember exactly what he gives the child instead, but I know the child wanted a pony and was going to get an
Oh, yes,
ant
the little
farm.
girl.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
going to get an ant farm. I just distinctly remember that one because I remember as a child being confused about ant farms as a concept. Another poll. If any of you had ant farms, were interested in ant farms, ever saw anybody walking around with an ant farm in real life, we'll put that up too, and you can let us know
Yeah, no,
the
let us
statistics
know.
on that.
One of the mom blog, wait, well, she's not a mom blogger, but she used to be solely a fashion blogger, now she's broader. Anyways, she's a mom though, and her daughter, she just bought her daughter an ant farm because her daughter's like obsessed. Her name is Emily Schumann. You can follow her at Cupcakes and Cashmere. She's actually one of like the biggest like or she used to be like one of the biggest fashion bloggers like on the internet. When like in 2010 or 2011. But yeah, very random fact. But I still follow her on
ant farms?
Yeah, no, she literally bought her daughter an ant farm because she's like her daughter's obsessed with ants. Like, and her daughter is like 6, I want to say.
I just never saw one in real life. Like it was one of those things that just
No, I
existed
agree
on
with you.
screens to me,
I agree with you.
and I assumed was something that happened in like middle America suburbia. But again, I had no access to that, so I just was like, alright, it's not part of my life. So
no, I was shocked to see it because she only put it up this week. That's why I was like serendipity. But yeah, no, and they live in LA. But yeah, it was very interesting to see because I also was like, who actually wants an ant farm? You know, like why?
Yeah.
What is the appeal? But I guess if you don't mind insects.
Yeah, and there are kids that like collect them.
Yeah, that's
all that.
that's
You know,
a thing.
like the bug book things. Like that I know is a thing.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that it was very specifically like ants. Things.
Yeah.
Also, I just wonder about like, so do you like make the ant? Do you engineer the ants? Do you capture them?
So because her husband was filling up the ant farm. That's the
So
only.
you have to go find your own ants.
I think they came with it, and you have to literally funnel them
They
in.
came with it.
They come with the farm, or that's what it looked like. Or you could buy them with the farm.
How do they ensure that the ants will all still be alive when they?
I don't know, but they were marching in, girl, like the saints. They're marching into
There's
that
so
farm.
many questions about
They're
ant farms.
marching in.
So many. Okay.
But yes.
So,
you tell-
Danny is attempting to better the children or give them things that will better them instead of, just giving them stuff that just makes them upset, which I think is fair. Like, there's this concept there of this idea of, trying to not labeling a child as bad or naughty, trying to understand what the source is of the behavior that you are marking as bad or naughty. Like, where is that coming from? But at the same time, which I appreciate, and I think actually being shown as a tool for Danny's growth, makes sense. For him to recognize, I know I'm just a misunderstood kid, or I feel misunderstood by my family, and there are other kids out there like me who are like that, and I can give them some of that, and that's how he sort of reassesses how he wants to position himself in the world in relation to other people. I think that, there's something good in that.
Yeah.
But my problem with this film is that on the other flip side of this, they really do that thing where Bryan Cranston is like, oh, I didn't get this one guitar from Santa. That's all I ever wanted, and he never brought it to me. And maybe if he had, I would have been a better kid. And I would have been a better adult.
Because they gave everything to my brother.
Exactly, because his brother always got whatever he wanted. And it's like... And then at the end of this film, when he has done the bare minimum of what is required of someone to be a decent human being, the absolute bare minimum.
Yeah, literally.
He gets rewarded with, the thing he always wanted that is, again, still, even as an adult, a Jimi Hendrix, that's...
Yeah, no, that's a dope gift.
That's a dope gift. So it's I just don't... I don't know how I feel about this other message in it about the rewarding of reasonable, decent, basically moral behavior.
Yeah.
Or this idea that, like, the way to, like, fix a bad kid is to, like, reward them even when they haven't earned it.
Right.
I have issues with that.
Yeah, no, because that's not a precedent that you want to set.
No.
It's like, what Danny was doing, I think, is what makes more sense, which is just like, okay, I'm not going to get you that guitar this Christmas, but maybe I'm going to get you, I don't know what somebody like Danny needed to get whatever he had out, but whatever he needed, that might have been, it's like maybe he needed
a journal.
Yes, maybe he needed a journal. Maybe he just needed a nice little journal.
Just to get off that damn
and a pen.
video game screen. It's not helping him. Blowing things up all day.
But yeah, and even with Nick, it's like, whatever he needed, he should have gotten that, but I don't think the automatic thing should have been like, let me get you this Jimi Hendrix guitar that you've wanted for 20 years.
When you stole my sleigh and went around and stole things.
Actively
stole things, and then left the children that were left in your charge with a mythical man.
Yes.
With a man who doesn't exist.
With Santa Minaj.
That's insane to me.
Because it's actually wild, and that's why his brother is literally like, I love my brother, but I cannot stand him.
Is absolutely right, and was absolutely right to like not want to leave him with his children,
with the kids,
because he's just a bad person. Like, it's not even like, you know what I mean? He really doesn't have any like redeeming qualities in the film.
There's literally nothing that's like that we're like, oh yeah, we like this about Uncle Nick.
And it sucks because it's like, my issue with these kind of characters is that it sucks because it's not even like he's evil and like brilliantly evil. Yeah. He's just lazy and a scammer. Yeah. And to me, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's just hapless.
It's like sloth. Like, it's just it's like you're just like, oh,
one of the 7 deadly sins.
Yeah, but it's like the whack one. Yeah, like it's not even deserving of being a deadly sin. Yeah, because it's so uninteresting. It's like that's what Uncle Nick is. Yeah, and he got rewarded for that, and that makes me not for that, but for overcoming that again in the most minimal way possible. Right. And it's the first time that he's ever done it. Mm-hmm. The singular time. We have no way of knowing if this is a new pattern of behavior.
It's probably not.
Or if it was a one-off. It's definitely not. He grows into Walter White.
Right. He becomes Heisenberg.
But, so that was my larger issue with it. But again, it's wild because I don't remember any of that as a kid. Mm-hmm. I think that it's the type of film where a kid watching it, or at least a kid watching it in 2001 when it came out, because I don't know if kids today would respond to the like special effects and the VFX the way that I did, but I think that I just thought the VFX were cool. Yeah. Like, I thought, that part where when Danny clicks the magnifying button and all of the stuff falls, like, enlarges falling out of Uncle Nick's suit, and he ends up on a pile of all this stuff. Like, I thought that was so funny and so cool. And watching, people freeze in time. Also, we didn't bring this up. What? They do this thing, the production value for this film is deeply troubling, because they do this thing where when it freezes, instead of just, like, taking a picture and using green screen or however they usually do it for things like that, they literally had all the actors
freeze.
Stay still.
So you can see them moving.
So you can see them moving, breathing, shaking, everything. And it is so deeply distracting.
Because you're just like, oh, I just saw her lip quiver.
Yeah, you're like, it doesn't make any sense. And I really do wonder, like, was it that much cheaper to not do... Did you spend all the visual effects money on making things looking bigger and smaller? Is this why you cast Peter? Because you had to use somebody's kid? You couldn't afford to get, like, a real child actor. Right. No shade, but kind of mostly shade. To that actor.
I mean, clearly this movie was mostly Canadian locals. Which is fine. Canada has great talent. Okay?
Shout out to Graham.
Yeah.
Mr. Graham.
A lot of talent came out of, the cold white land above. So, it's like, it's no shade to them, but Peter was...
But Peter... We keep coming back to Peter. Oh, Peter. I hope that child lived a is living a great life. I really do.
Oh yeah, no, same here.
I hope that he has found someone who loves him for him, who can, if he has not grown out of that voice, who finds it endearing and lovely, like a bird song, not one of the bad birds. Like, you know,
I told you, a rare bird.
Yeah,
rare
exactly.
bird.
Yeah, it'll be lovely to some ears and not so lovely to others.
Yeah,
I think we're the others.
You know.
But yeah, so it's just, I think I really liked it because of the visual effects. I think that's what I enjoyed when I was younger. But I don't know but I really don't think that they hold up because because, you know, just, and there are other things in it that aren't done to the same
degree. Yeah.
So I don't know. This is it's a film.
It's a film.
It's a Christmas film.
Do you think you'd show it to the babies?
I don't think they'd watch it. I think I could try, and my kids would be like, "Can you change it to something else?"
As soon as they started writing in that sleigh,
they'd be like, "Can we watch Frozen?" Like, I don't understand what this is.
It's like, why do I see a green screen?
And to get to think of, like, and if this is a film that's going to require me to sit down and, like, put it on and watch it, like, that's just not going to happen. So, so will I show it to my kids? Probably not. Highly probable no is the answer to that question, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like this would only be for me if they, like, asked for, like, decom Christmas movies, and I'd be like, sure. But who would? They wouldn't.
Would they? And if they did, there are others. Ultimate Christmas Present. They can watch Ultimate
unless they were like,
Present.
let's watch all of them. I don't
think they'd ever say that.
They wouldn't, but I'm saying in the hypothetical situation, that's the only time. It definitely wouldn't be. It's not that I would discourage them from watching it.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
just
look
like
for it.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if you guys would really be into this, because the children these days. Not that we have children these days, but
I got some cousins and nephews.
They can spot things.
They can.
They have strong eyes.
And they have high standards.
They have very high standards because they're watching all these shows and they're watching the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Where the girls are out here doing a full VFX routine from their houses. So they have the TikToks.
They're like, I'm not trying to watch Santa tickle nobody.
They're like, I just watched some girl on TikTok move around without touching the ground. What do you mean? Why is the sky not moving with them?
That is a fact. That is an absolute fact.
Like, I feel like they would just see the fallacy in it and be like, no.
Well, this is just not.
No.
Disbelief, not
suspended. I feel like overall, I mean, unless you were similar to Nina and really liked it as a kid and you want to revisit it for that.
But even then, like...
It's probably not as good as you thought it was.
Don't do... Because it'll ruin it for you. Like, I revisited it and I was like, wow, I wish that I could have kept whatever that image of Twas the Night was in my head. Because it wasn't even an image. It was a feeling. I just remember being like... we were like, we're going to watch Twas the Night. And I was like, oh, Twas the Night. That's...
Yeah, you were very happy about that.
I was very happy about it. And then about 15 minutes into the movie, that was gone, and now it's lost forever. It's not coming back. So maybe to keep it a beloved thing. Yeah, don't revisit it.
I'd agree with that. I would agree with that.
But Merry Christmas.
Happy winter solstice.
Happy winter solstice. Word.
Yeah. Just stay warm if you're in a colder part of the country.
Do you sacrifice goats in winter? Probably not. Well, I don't know. Sorry,
I don't know actually.
In the warm places, probably.
Yeah, if you're somewhere warm.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're in California, you guys can sacrifice a goat. I don't know why. Why would you do that?
I'm sorry. It was the classic thing. I went to like Saturnalia and like winter solstice. I went down a different path. Not like a dark witchy path.
She went down the
just
pagan path.
Just pagan and ancient. Just older practices.
Nina is the heathen of the two of us on this podcast.
That's 110% true, and I own that. I eat that up. Like, I enjoy that. I think that the world is better for having some heathens in it.
A sprinkle.
A sprinkle of heathens.
A sprinkle of heathens.
It's a very specific type of heathen, though. Like, I'm a heathen with a pretty solidified moral compass. It's not rigid. Let's be real about that. That's what makes me a heathen. It is not rigid, but it is solid. You know, I have a basic concept of right and wrong.
Whereas Uncle Nick is just...
He has none.
Yeah.
None. Again, he left the children with a mythical man. I'd kill him. I'd kill him. If he were my brother, I'd kill him.
That's like leaving your children with, like, Gollum or something.
I don't care if he's supposed to be nice. Like, you know, at least one of them is always on his naughty list. Like, just... Why? Why would you do that? That's not okay. Yeah, I'd kill him if he did that. Right. And I do think that fits in with my solid morality.
There you go. It comes again.
It all comes full circle, y'all.
But yes, stay warm, guys. Bye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of The Critics Kingdom. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and SoundCloud so you can stay up to date, as well as interacting and letting us know what you guys think on social media. You can find us on Twitter at Critics Kingdom and on Instagram at The Critics Kingdom. We're excited to talk to you again next week.